Well, good Tuesday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. Let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. Man, it's already Tuesday. Time is slipping into the future. And man, I can't believe it. I can't believe that week 3 is now in the books. And after as bad as it seemed us losing to Tampa Bay, the Cowboys are 2-1 with Cooper Rush leading the way. Now, of course, it's funny because the Dak haters are out. The Dak haters are, Dak is done. Trade Dak. Cooper in Rush I trust. I'm seeing all of these different names that are, in Rush we trust, Coop the man, and this, that, and the other, that have come about. And it's funny because literally 4 weeks ago, people were like, man, get rid of that guy. Why do we still have him on the roster? It's crazy how quickly things change in the NFL with fans' love. And I will say, and I know that the Dak Prescott haters don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this at all. But I want to say that last night may be one of the better games that Kellen Moore actually called. And maybe we're finally seeing the evolution of Kellen Moore realizing I have to do things differently. Last night, okay, here's the problem. I remember last year when we had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup came back off injury. The team, because they didn't have Michael Gallup, was using 12 personnel a lot. They were running the ball effectively and things. Then they got Michael Gallup back, and it's like, oh, I got these 3 receivers. I got to use them all. And you notice that the Cowboys' offense started to sputter. We weren't as good the second half of the season as we were the first half. Now, there were a lot of mitigating factors to that. Blake Jarwin was injured. Tyron Smith got hurt as well. Zeke Elliott, his knee, ended up having the PCL injury. And Tony Pollard, of course, had his plantar fasciitis. So there were a multitude of things. But they used 12 personnel less and less. And they got away from the run. We had games where we didn't run for 75 yards in them. Last night was a thing of beauty because we threw the ball 31 times and we ran the ball 30 times. That is balance, keeping a defense guessing. And what did we end up with that? We ended up with Cooper Rush, 21 of 31, 1 TD, 215 yards. Nothing to write home about, but no turnovers. They got the ball out quick. He didn't get hit. He didn't get sacked. He didn't fumble the football. He didn't throw interceptions. On the other side of the equation here, you had Tony Pollard run the ball for 13 times for 105 yards. Now, a lot of that came on one big run. 8.1 yards. Zeke Elliott pounding between the middles. 15 carries, 73 yards. 4.9 yards a carry. And the thing of, oh, well, you need to have Tony Pollard out there more than, you know what? By having Tony Pollard out there and not running him 20, 25 times, he is able to really break things open. You have Zeke Elliott, who's the battering ram, who's picking up the hard yards. And what I'm telling you is right now, even in plays when there's nothing there, Zeke is still pushing the pile and getting you 1 or 2 yards. This, my friends, is how we win. You see a guy like Peyton Hendershot and Jake Ferguson making valuable catches when it counted the most, when you needed it the most, without Dalton Schultz. So as we go through here, this is what's amazing. CeeDee Lamb, well, we'll get to CeeDee in a second. CeeDee Lamb, 8 catches, 87 yards, 10.9. He could have had a lot more had he not had that one that should have been a catch. Noah Brown, 5 catches, 54 yards. Peyton Hendershot, 3 catches. You use all the tools that you hope to use or hope that we would use, the 12 personnel, running the ball, balanced offense, play action. These are all things that make it easier for your quarterback and allow you to get good matchups for your players. We didn't do that in Tampa Bay. We ran the ball 18 times. We were effective running the football. We just didn't do it. 12 personnel. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. We threw the ball 77% of the time and ran the ball 23. That's not the recipe for winning. This recipe is the recipe for winning. And let me say, Cooper Rush is playing lights out. You know what? Hey, if it ends up being that Cooper Rush can take us to a Super Bowl, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think Dak Prescott is the much better quarterback, without a doubt. I believe in Dak Prescott. And if they do this with Dak Prescott, hey, we're good. And that defense, my God, that defense is it's crazy. And let me say, I forgot last night about Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson, who stepped in for Jaron Kearse, we have not skipped a beat. 9 tackles and a sack. And that whole defense, guys, we have a defense that right now is holding teams to 17.3 points per game. And that includes Joe Burrow. That includes Tom Brady in the mix. Back in the day, the Cowboys, Tom Landry said, we hold teams to 17 points, we'll win. This defense, maybe, it's still early, maybe this could be Doomsday 3. Just saying. This defense is truly getting it done. And you're getting it done not just by Micah Parsons, and we can see the future with Micah Parsons right now is he's going to be doubled and triple teamed. There is no doubt about it. That's literally what happened to him last night in New York. But you saw DeMarcus Lawrence being able to get 3 sacks. You end up seeing Dorrance Armstrong get his 3rd sack. And this is where the Cowboys have so many different mismatches and speed that they're coming after quarterbacks. If you're going to be a quarterback playing against the Cowboys, you better take some Advil the day before, because you are going to be sore the next day. They will come at you. They will hit you. They will be relentless. They are the dogs coming after you. And this is where Dan Quinn, this is the reason why Dan Quinn came back. You had the opportunity to coach one of the best players in the NFL and a young group of guys that are just learning. And here's the thing that I mentioned a few weeks ago about the Dallas Cowboys. And we don't like Jerry Jones's approach. You know, we see Von Miller go out and have 2 sacks his first game and stuff. We say, oh, my God, we don't care about winning. Oh, we didn't sign Randy Gregory and stuff. Well, right now, you have to look at the guys that the Cowboys actually brought in. Dante Fowler, he looking good. Basham, before he got injured, was looking good. Anthony Barr, been looking good. Jaron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, bargain basement guys we brought in, they're looking good. Malik Hooker, looking good. And the Dallas Cowboys, 81% of the team, 81% I think was the stat last night we saw, are players that they either signed as undrafted free agents or that they drafted. And here's the great news about all this. I don't know how this season will go. Maybe the Eagles are the real deal and they're a team of destiny and they can roll through the season just like they're doing, at the moment. But what I can say is this team is one of the younger teams in the NFL. You look at Tampa Bay, they're the oldest team in the NFL. And you can see right now they've had a lot of injuries of receivers and things and stuff like that. They signed Julio Jones, another guy. Oh, man, we should have got Julio. He's played 1 game. And he's hurt. When you're older, you break down more. You take longer to heal. And that's where the Cowboys are very, very young. And you look at this and say, next couple of years should be bright. But of course, Cowboys can't have any harmony, of course, because now it's the quarterback controversy.
We're presented by Progressive Insurance. So, guys, the Cowboys are now 0-1 with Dak, 2-0 with Cooper Rush. Let me continue with this line of thought, because the other day, Jerry Jones, the owner, got Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones, the GM, in trouble, and Jerry Jones himself mentioned that after the fact when it was a whole controversy, and he said, well, Jerry Jones, the owner, should sometimes shut up and cause a problem for Jerry Jones, the GM. But he said, look, I'd love a quarterback controversy because that means we're winning. But in the implication of what he said was, if we continue to win, there will be a quarterback controversy, even when Dak is healthy. Now, Key, we were talking a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, about the fact that, like, Kurt Warner, or maybe this was on Friday, Kurt Warner.
Yeah, it was Friday. That's when you got attacked by Kurt Warner.
Well, no, there was someone else, but no, Kurt and me are all good. Someone misrepresented my point.
Did he respond back to your tweet?
He did. Kurt,
what did he say?
It's all good. I don't have thin skin, but someone misrepresented what I was saying. Someone said that I said that Dak was better than Kurt Warner, which is ridiculous. I did not say that. What I said was, Kurt Warner got his job by injury, right? Trent Green. Yeah. But he also lost it to injury. He was considered the number one guy in football.
Mark Bulger took it.
Only because, not because Mark Bulger was so great. He was good, but they went 8-0. So, of course, they're going to stay with a hot hand.
And Kurt was at the end of his deal.
That's true, right? Yeah. Okay, so if it can happen to Kurt Warner, I said at the time it could happen to Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
Key, the way you framed it was, look, the way it happens is maybe Dak could come back, but we're 4-0, we're 5-0. You know what? Take an extra week, let it heal up. If Cooper Rush continues to win games, how does that affect Dak's timetable? Here's Lisa Salters on Monday Night Football last night talking about Dak Prescott's return. Listen.
He said it feels great. He was going to go talk to the doctor right after and hopefully get the green light to start ripping and throwing the football again. And when I asked him when he's thinking he might be back, he said a couple of weeks, and I'm counting this as one of them. Those were his words. So I asked him, next week, you think you might be ready to play against Washington next week? And he said he isn't ruling anything out.
So, Key, let's say he can't play against Washington and Cooper Rush wins his third straight game.
That's fine. That means we got a good backup. We have a solid quarterback room.
They're not going to say, Dak, take it easy. Take another week.
No, I mean, look, it depends on where he's at. He's getting healthy because Cooper Rush is playing well. So it helps you. The medicine takes effect. That's the medicine is Cooper Rush. He's getting better. All of a sudden, it doesn't hurt as much.
Can you explain that? And Jay, you too, because you've experienced this. People listening out there think, wait a minute. If the dude is motivated as can be, why does the presence of competition make it motivate him even more? Why does he need that?
It's not necessarily a motivation that he needs. It's just I'm watching somebody drive my car, and I know I could drive it better. And it just motivates you to a degree to, for whatever reason, get ready to get back out there. Instead of being in the training room an hour, you may be in the training room 2.5 hours now. All of a sudden, you're lifting weights. He's not going to lose his job. And the reason he's not going to lose his job is because there's probably $120 million left on his deal of guaranteed money or something like that.
It wasn't the case for Kurt Warner.
It wasn't the case for Kurt Warner. It wasn't the case for somebody else that I'm thinking, Drew Bledsoe. Guys like that, like we only know about Tom Brady because of Drew Bledsoe, actually because of Mo Lewis. Mo Lewis hit Drew Bledsoe and cracked whatever his sternum or whatever it was, and all of a sudden Tom Brady was born. There was no Tom Brady. The New England Patriots and Bill Belichick were not even thinking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, they were.
It's like, man, we're going to draft a guy this year anyway. But we have to have a guy who can play. And then all of a sudden, and then a little more. But Drew Bledsoe wasn't on $150 million guaranteed money. So it's a little bit different. Cooper Rush is a nice player for them, and he could be a starter, it seems like, in the league based on what we're seeing.
Small sample size. I mean, but I will say, look, there's a difference between somebody keeping your boat afloat as somebody being the motor for your boat, right? Like the defense needs to play at a different level. Cooper Rush needs to make a play here or there, right? But if the defense is not at a different level, Dak is the one guy that can elevate the offense and carry the offense. We saw him do it before he got hurt.
Yeah,
right? Their
he lost
defense
game
wasn't
one.
great. What?
They were 0-1.
I'm talking about a couple years ago before he got hurt. Right?
Yep.
He was literally carrying the team.
He
Max.
was
carrying the team.
He was, but.
Yeah, he look.
Okay.
Like they were 8-8.
That's not because, like Jay said, I'm over here. I was smiling when Jay was talking about Cooper Rush, small sample size, and Dak can make some more plays and things of that nature. And I had to crack a smile because isn't it amazing that a guy like Cooper Rush is 3-0, and it's a small sample size. But what if you'd have drafted him in the first round and he was 3-0?
Was he an elite quarterback?
It was so much more hype around it.
Right? I mean, it's so weird how that works.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I'm willing to immediately think, is he elite already? But if it's Jalen Hurts, I need to see it for a year and a half.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I'm watching Cooper Rush deliver the football in sync and nice, too.
Know what else it does?
Really nice.
Know what else it demonstrates maybe? And Bill Parcells guy. The Parcellian kind of way of thinking, which is like, don't do too much sometimes.
Well, that's what Jay just said. He
solid and sound.
That's what Jay said.
But maybe that's better than being the quote-unquote motor
But I've been
sometimes.
trying to tell you that for 100 years. You don't listen.
Yeah, Max, you don't listen.
And the thing is you get so enamored with somebody that you think that you have to utilize at a certain rate, throwing the ball all over the lot. You're not going to win that way. But what happens is people want that guy just in case. They want that guy.
They want to know he can do it.
They want to know that he can do it.
Maybe that's what Steve Young was talking about for Dak to watch Cooper Rush go through his progressions by taking sometimes the easy play. Don't go for the home run. Just make the easy play consistently.
Know why Tom Brady's the GOAT? Because if you need him to, he can do it, but
Well,
he's not trying.
He's not trying to do it.
Okay.
Can't thread the needle all the time.
You know, the Tom Brady people out there, obviously, you don't know what you're talking about. He has 7 championships.
That's why he has 7 championships. Takes what the defense
If you
gives him.
really watch football,
Yeah.
and you really watch it, Brady isn't out there throwing the ball 65 times a game.
He's not.
You look at the last Super Bowl he won. Brady was pedestrian. I dare you say
Yes.
pedestrian with Tom Brady. He was pedestrian.
But when
man.
they lost the Super Bowl, he threw for 500 yards. So in other words, it's there. If you need it, he can do it, but he's not looking to do it.
But you
pedestrian
don't-
as hell in the
Okay.
last.
All right. Okay, so with those guys going through and all that, but let me point out something to you guys. As we sit here today, the Dallas Cowboys scoring defense right now are 8th. Yardage defense, 9th. 28th in taking away the football. That's where we are right now. We are trending up even better. When you only give up 17.3 points a game, you have a better chance of winning the game. It can change when you know your defense is not going to allow the other opposition. And we're talking about Tom Brady and Joe Burrow, not so much Daniel Jones. But, Barkley has been feasting. When you can do that, you can play football differently. And the difference is, and I know that Dak Prescott haters and all that think that the only difference for the Cowboys right now is Cooper Rush. The difference is when you can hold a team down to 17 points, you can play differently. You are not under the gun where you've got to keep launching the football, 77% of the time to try and keep serve. You're not having to, score 38 points and still lose a game. This is a much better team, and I guarantee you as the season goes on, you'll see this defense creep up into the top 5. And this is the difference of winning and losing. You win as a team. Let me point out to you that Russell Wilson, although lately Russell Wilson has not been cooking too much, he's been kind of getting burned in the kitchen. But those years of Russell Wilson where he was throwing, 4,000 plus yards and 40 TDs and everything else, and everybody said, Russell Wilson is great. The interesting thing is they weren't winning Super Bowls. When they won the Super Bowl, they had the number 1 scoring defense, the number 1 defense in yardage, the number 1 defense in taking the football away. He had like 23 touchdown passes. He had beast mode that was running for 1,300 yards. And you could take and look at the two best teams that the Dallas Cowboys had under Tony Romo. 2007, where we had a 1-2 punch of Marion Barber and can't remember the other running back, but we were getting close to 2,000 yards running the football. And you can look at 2014 with DeMarco Murray, where DeMarco Murray had over 1,800 yards running. We had a balanced offense. We didn't have a great defense in 2014, but they took the ball away. They were number 2. And that, my friends, is how you win in football. It's beyond just what the quarterback can do. It's also, what does that defense do? What do the special teams do? And too many times in the past, we've had to go ahead and the defense is just going to give up 40 points, and you're in a shootout. But then again, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job in a voodoo doll, and we'll have a lot more on this later on. And I will see you.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and all the thing else I got to